What's going on, guys? It's your boy Burrow77 coming to you with a little change up. We are going to talk about some Friday night previews in college hoops. We have a very skinny slate. There's only 3 games, but there's 2 marquee standalone games that I think you guys will be really hype about. You know I love mid-majors. You know I love talking mid-majors, and we have 2 great games for mid-majors that we don't have numbers yet. I want to talk about these games because I think they're super exciting and fun. And then I will talk a little bit about projections, where I find projections, and we'll kind of look and see where the market opens, what these numbers do throughout the day, and you can kind of understand a little bit more of what it is I look for as we get closer to tip-off. So I also want to let you know, I'm not going to lie, it's a Diet Pepsi and not a beer. It's very early in the morning, and I still have to do the La Liga show with BetUS today at 3 p.m. So I'm not drinking beer yet, but I do like the beer crack at the beginning. Just wanted to keep it a buck with you there. But we will keep this moving right into the mid-major action, starting with Dayton at VCU. This is the top of the A10, and I cannot wait for this game. Dayton lost to Richmond away the other day, but got a nice bounce back win. VCU beat Richmond at home. It's Dayton, Richmond, and VCU battling it out for the top of the A10 conference, in my opinion, right now. VCU definitely started out with not the best record and took a couple of losses, but they challenged themselves with their non-conference games, with their multi-team event tournaments that they did, and they've played a lot of really top talent. And this team is not necessarily young, even though they are a little bit younger. They do have a lot of underclassmen that they utilize, but they haven't played together a whole ton. There were only 4 guys returning to this VCU squad. They only played like a total of 8 games, and 2 of them were redshirt freshmen. So how VCU finishes this season and how they finish in A10, especially in how they do in the A10 tournament, is really going to determine whether or not this team is getting talked about for the big NCAA tournament and the big dance. I personally think the way they've been playing ball right now, and the way they've been playing this season, they deserve a serious look for the tournament. Dayton, they're net ranked like 17, 16, 15. Like Dayton, I don't want to say is a shoe-in just because there's not a lot of respect on the A10's name when it comes to conference bids and at-large bids, but we'll see. Obviously, that all changes. It really depends on how everybody else does. And this would be a quad 1 home win for VCU. It's tough to get quad 1 quality wins, especially at home, because they do put so much more emphasis on your net and your ranking when you are away. But this is a massive game for both teams. There's going to be some bad blood here. It's a conference game. We know how difficult it is to win on the road in every conference and every aspect of college basketball. And Dayton is coming off a big, tough away match at St. Joe's. The Flyers got off to a slow start. Both teams really struggled to shoot from the floor. I want to say there was maybe like a total of 60 points in the first half for the entire game for St. Joe's and for Dayton. It was just really tough sledding there. St. Joe's came out building on the energy of the crowd out there in Philly, defending hard. St. Joe's did a really good job limiting what Deron Holmes could do offensively. They kept him to 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. They were able to do that thanks in part to their 7-foot stud freshman center, Christ Esendoko. Nate Santos was able to step up and make a big contribution and some massive buckets for Dayton. He scored 21 points, went 2 for 4 from deep, and pulled down 5 rebounds with 2 steals. Kobe Elvis also stepped up for the Flyers and dropped 21 points, going 3 for 5 from deep and pulling down 7 rebounds. So this Dayton team, even though St. Joe's made it a priority to lock up the best player on the floor, who is Deron Holmes, they were able to get contributions from the rest of their positions in the starting five, knock down some shots, come up with big threes, pull down rebounds, and win a tough road game in Philly. VCU is coming off another true road win at Fordham. Max Shulga has been massive for the Rams this season, especially in big moments. Shulga is a Ukrainian international student who transferred from Utah State. He's very good at hitting the deep ball. He can also put the ball on the floor, penetrate, get to the rim, finish, make his 2-point shots. He can shoot a mid-range a little bit. He finishes at the rim, and he's good at drawing contact and getting to the stripe. And Shoga's really dangerous from the stripe. He shoots 86.5% from the charity stripe. So that's good enough for number 92 in the nation in all of D1. So, he's not afraid to go to the line. He's looking for that contact. And when he shoots the 3-ball, he's knocking it down at a 41.3% clip. And that is really, really impressive. Combined with his ability to put the ball on the floor, drive the lane, hit a mid-range, it makes him a very dangerous player. Sean Barstow is another Utah State transfer that came over with Shoga, and he's an Australian international that has struggled to stay healthy and on the floor this season, but he has a massive impact when he does step on the floor. Barstow can distribute, he can knock down his threes, and he makes his free throws. VCU is a really deep team who will rotate and is comfortable playing a ton of guys off their bench. Dayton is a team that likes their starting five. They don't go to their bench a whole ton, and they don't rotate. So foul trouble is going to be a massive thing in this game. VCU is one of the best in the country as a team knocking down their free throws. They just don't miss from the charity stripe, shooting about 78-79% as a team from the line. It's top 10 in the nation. So keeping your 5 starters out of foul trouble is going to be really crucial here for Dayton. You're going to have to defend vertically. You're not going to want to – you don't leave your feet. You can't leave your feet on jump shooters. VCU loves to shoot from the outside. They do put the ball down and drive the lane and get contact in the paint, which is really good because if you're great at the free throw line, those are the easiest buckets to make in college basketball. Dayton, they love to work late into the shot clock, and they will keep this game at a snail's pace. VCU's not in a particular hurry either. What VCU does really well is they clean up the offensive glass and the defensive glass. Dayton, same thing. They clean up the glass really well. So this is kind of a stalemate on the boards. They both are really good at the offensive glass and extending plays and getting second chance buckets and having multiple possessions. And like I said, Dayton and VCU both like to slow the rock down, get those multiple possessions, and work deep into the shot clock. But Dayton works later than anybody else in the NCAA into the shot clock. They have more made buckets and a better shooting percentage than any other team in the nation with less than 10 seconds left on the shot clock. So Dayton's comfortable not only shooting late, but defending late. That's what makes their defense so smothering and so difficult for other teams to play against. Because they are accustomed to shooting very late in the shot clock, they do not quit on defense and will have a hand in your face and will guard you all the way until time expires. And a lot of teams create bad turnovers letting the shot clock expire because of Dayton's smothering defense. The other part of that with Dayton is their absolutely unreal shooting efficiency. They're top 20 in the country when it comes to shot selection. They knock them down when they choose to let go of the basketball. It's very, very difficult to play from behind if you're Dayton, especially in a deep hole. when you play like that. But if you're in the driver's seat and you're keeping this game close, you can play from behind to about 6 or 7 points because this team can make dagger threes. They can play in transition, especially because they do turn you over, and they can find some guys in transition. And Deron Holmes is a monster, and he knocks down his free throws. So it's one of those things that Dayton, they need to keep the game within 10 points because of how late they go into the shot clock and how they rely so heavily on their shooting efficiency. Expect to see a ton of three-pointers from both of these teams. They both love to shoot behind the arc. They will put the ball on the floor and go to the paint. But a lot of times that they're going to try and suck you in, get you collapsing on a guy driving to the rim, and then look to find the open three-point shooter. Expect a low-scoring rock fight. Both of these teams pride themselves on defense, how they hustle, how they play absolutely outstanding defense. They rotate, they cover positions. It's going to be smothering defense on both ends of the ball. The winner of this game will be in the driver's seat for the A-10 conference, and this is a massive team for the top of the A-10. Like I said, there's not a ton of respect on the A-10's name this season. I think there needs to be more, but, at-large bids are going to be tough to come by. So you're going to want to be in the driver's seat of this conference. You're going to want a good seed when it comes to the conference tournament, and you're going to want to win this conference tournament. The first team to 65 is probably going to win this game. I will be looking to take the under if I get this line anywhere close to 140 or like 138. I think Dayton handles their business, but a VCU win in this building will not surprise me. I would look to play Dayton on the money line to about minus 130. If I get the spread sitting at plus or minus 4, or plus or minus 4.5, 5, et cetera. Let's move it out from 4. I think the move there is to take VCU in the points because I do think this will be a razor tight game. And we all know how hard it is to win conference road games, especially when it comes to the top of conference play. We had a tough night with that last night, with High Point and UNC Asheville. So I do expect a very tight number here. And if this game is between the plus minus 4 and 0, a pick'em game, I think the value, and you're not getting Dayton at minus 130. Again, that number implies you're not going to get a money line number on Dayton around the minus 130 neighborhood. I think the value will be playing the home dog on the money line. So I don't think I'm interested in taking VCU plus the points unless I'm getting 2 full 2-point possessions here. And I am not interested in taking Dayton on the money line if I have to pay more than 30 cents on the dollar of juice to do it. The value to me in a game like this where it's, VCU plus 3.5, plus 3, plus 2.5, all the way to a pick'em game will be to take a plus money number on VCU on the money line. I think this is going to be an awesome game. I think we're in for a great battle in the paint with Deron Holmes, who Ken Pom has ranked the number 2 player in the country. I think Shoga is playing phenomenal basketball. He made it rain in the first half from 3-point versus Bonnie's. VCU struggled. They ended up losing that game. That was their first true road loss in 11 straight. VCU's bounced back. They played incredibly well. Shoga's continued to play well. Like I said, this team is deep. They rotate. There's a ton of guys here that have contributions. I think it's a very interesting matchup versus a Dayton squad that doesn't like to rotate, sticks with their starting 5, and has, the second best player in college basketball, according to Ken Pom. We will keep this moving to the next. There's only 2. I'm only talking about 2 games. The next big mid-major standalone, which is San Diego State at Nevada. This is tipping off at 8 p.m. over on CBS Sports Network. The Mountain West is very good. This is getting a lot of noise about how this might be a 5, maybe a 6 bid league. This is a mid-major team, or this is a mid-major conference that's been getting a ton of respect since COVID. We saw a ton of teams make the big dance for them last year, and I've been saying it for years. The Mountain West Conference plays really good and competitive basketball. It is a crying shame that they are not on ESPN Plus or don't have some sort of other national TV deal. They do have the Mountain West Conference, TV deal kind of locally, but we don't get enough of these games on national television for how quality this conference is and how good of basketball they play out here in the Mountain West. Nevada's only home loss this season is to Boise State, where they lost 56-64. Keenan Blackshear and Gerard Lucas are the top guys to watch here for Nevada. Blackshear is he plays the point guard position and is one of the nation's best setup guys. He distributes the ball super well and is always finding an open guy in space. He's no slouch when it comes to shooting from the floor either. He shoots about 53% from the floor and in the mid-range, but he struggles from the charity stripe, which is not great for your point guard. He shoots about 64% from the charity stripe, and that really stinks. That's terrible. Lucas, he's the shooting guard who can hit the three ball really well. He shoots 38.7% from three. That puts him in the top 350 in D1. He's absolutely lights out from the free throw line. He shoots 90.9% from the charity stripe, so he's automatic when he goes to the line. He does decent in the mid-range. He puts the ball on the floor. He gets to the rim. He can draw some contact. So Blackshear and Lucas, they have really good senior guard play here, and that's always important, especially at home for Nevada. San Diego State have Jadon Ledee, who is Ken Palm's number 6 player of the year, according to their rankings. Ledee is a 6'9", 240-pound senior center. Ledee was a freshman at Ohio State before transferring to TCU, playing a couple of seasons at TCU, and then transferring to San Diego State. Ledee's coming off a 14.9 rebound to assist MVP performance versus Air Force. Ledee shoots a respectable 72.4% from the stripe as a big man, so that's really nice. He waxes the glass. He's, an 8-10 rebound a night guy. Both of these squads, they're really deep, and they have no problem trusting their benches in tough minutes. You see a lot of upperclassmen transfers here because the Mountain West plays really competitive basketball. You don't want to be a six-man. You don't want to be a rotation piece as a junior and a senior. So when you hit the transfer portal, Mountain West is a very attractive place. They have good NIL deals. They get into the tournament, as we see. They have national recognition. So you have a really good shot at making an impact, making a name, making some noise for yourself, and potentially playing after college when you're an upper-class transfer to the Mountain West Conference, which is part of what makes this conference so dangerous and so deep. So, teams that can rely on their bench and have guys that will stay calm in the biggest minutes is always huge. And that's why the Mountain West is getting so much respect as a conference. Both of these teams are very stout defensively. Whoever gets hot from the floor, especially late, is probably going to win this game. We all know how tough it is to win on the road, and Nevada has an incredibly tough barn to play in. This place will be packed. This is a rare nationally televised standalone game for the Mountain West Conference, so the student body and even road students will be out showing out for this one. This is a game where I could easily see, I should have double checked into this. I could easily see this being like an away day for SDSU, where they bust some kids in, they give them a hotel package deal, kind of, John. And this is a game you're going to want to bring your crowd with you. And SDSU has a really good crowd that shows up to all of their home games. They finished second in the national championship last year. So this team will travel well. They will bring fans, and they will pack the away student section. And Nevada, I should have looked at this too. I'm assuming it's going to be a whiteout in this building. Nevada's colors are blue and white. When you get a whiteout going, everybody's going to have a white shirt on. This place is going to be electric. This is the game. It's a standalone Friday night game. People are going to be drunk. They're going to be cheering their asses off. The behind the rims, behind the net cheering section is going to be absolutely lit. This place is going to be nuts. This is what college basketball is all about, too. Like, this is why I watch college basketball, because to me, it's a lot like soccer. You don't see this insane fandom in the NFL. You don't see this insane fandom in the NBA. You don't see this insane fandom in any professional sport. And that's part of why I watch the game, and that's why I love college basketball so much. I have this as another really tough coin flip game, and so do the projections. It'll be really interesting to see where these lines open up. A couple of the sites I use for projections aren't in super agreement on this one. Ken Palm has this one is a coin flip game. They have SDSU winning by exactly 1 point, 72-70. Haslam Metrics, another site I really like, has this more as like a 2.5 3-point game favoring Nevada at home. But they also have this projected, 70-67 kind of deal. So it'll be really interesting to see where this line opens up. I'll be interested to see if it's within a single possession, 3-point possession, or if it's somewhere outside of that. I think the total here is going to be really interesting. If it's going to be up above the 140 mark, like Ken Palm thinks it's going to be, or do I think it's going to be a lot tighter to that 140 and maybe even a shade under, more where Haslam likes it to be. So I think the under in this game is probably the play. I think Nevada at home might be the move here. SDSU plays a little bit more consistent brand of basketball. They've been here before. They've made a deep tournament run. They know what it takes to close out and how important these conference games are. This is an opportunity for a quad 1 road win. This is a quad 2 home win for Nevada. So a little bit more on the line here for SDSU. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. So being able to watch the start of this at halftime of the A10 game and then come back and finish the second half without interruption is going to make for great television. It's going to make for a great Friday night at the bar, or a little pregame if you're in college. And depending on what coast you're on, this could be some, late afternoon action if you're out there on the West Coast. So I love this match. It'll be really interesting on what the lines do. I favor the under, and I favor Nevada at home. I think Nevada at home gets this job done. I'm hoping that the line is kind of a pick 'em, because I would love a Nevada on the money line if I can get anywhere close to -110 or even a plus number. I think I might back Nevada at home here. If San Diego State on the road is catching outside of a full possession and I'm seeing them at like +3, +3.5, I'm probably going to switch up and look to take San Diego State on the road to cover a number. I don't have much for you as far as reviews here. I figure I'd throw the logos on. I'm going to try and post here. I got the La Liga, BetUS La Liga show coming up here shortly. I don't know how much editing I'm going to be able to do and be able to throw a bunch of highlights in over, the word text that I threw. Whatever, it's up there because it's necessary, because also I just don't want to have my big ass face like looking at you the entire time. I know that doesn't make for great videos, and you want to see what I have to say kind of there, and that's why I have a text box. So we'll see what I can do in post. I do have a tight schedule today. I appreciate you guys as always for tuning in. These are going to be, like I said, phenomenal games. The building in both of these places going to be packed. It's going to be electric. This is must-see television. This is why we watch college basketball, to watch and sweat out bets on tight games like this, because they just mean more. In state, in conference rivalries mean more. Playing for the top of your conference means more. Playing to boost your resume for the big dance and to make the big dance just means more. This is going to be great. Cheers to a happy Friday. You know the fucking vibes. Oaks out.